The U.S. knew that they would eventually be dragged into the war. This finally happened on December 7, 1941, when Japanese forces attacked the U.S. military fleet stationed in Pearl Harbor, Hawaii. This attack resulted in the deaths of 2,403 persons, and then led to the U.S. to start building the atomic bomb on June 18, 1942. The atomic bomb was the first nuclear weapon to have ever been used. It caused way more damage than any other bomb that had been used in the past. It affected the health of people who were born decades after the bomb was dropped. 300,000 people died in the first year after the bombs were dropped, including 40,000 people who died almost immediately, and that's not everybody. Because it caused so much damage and killed so many people, we believe it to have been a wrongdoing in using it on heavily populated cities instead of on a military target, even though it did succeed in ending the war.
Whereas in Japan, they were running out of money and food and supplies and everything. They were losing the war.
The Grand Slam bomb was the most powerful weapon before the use of the nuclear weapon was discovered. While this bomb was heavier and bigger than the second atomic bomb, it only created a blast of 120 feet. The second atomic bomb created a blast that could extend to about 3 million from the explosion. Extend to about 3 miles from the explosion. Areas within 0.5 to 3 miles of the blast would experience severe shockwaves damage, thermal damage, and fly debris. In other words, the atomic bomb was about 44 times strong than the Grand Slam bomb.
On January 19th of 1942, President Roosevelt approved the creation of the atomic bomb. And on July 31st of 1945, President Truman approved the use of the atomic bomb. Scientists were handpicked to work on the Manhattan Project. One key player was John R. Ruhoff, who worked with Colonel K.D. Nichols in providing the necessary materials to build the atomic bombs. Both Ruhoff and Nichols were handpicked by Arthur Holly Compton, who was in charge of the MET lab at the University of Chicago. The leader of the Manhattan Project was physicist Julius Robert Oppenheimer, working closely with Army Lieutenant General Leslie Groves.
We didn't know much about it. We knew something was going on in physics.
The primary mission of Manhattan Project was to build working atomic bombs. This required studying the physical and nuclear fission and chemical properties of uranium and plutonium, as well as developing the industrial process of requiring the necessary amount of fuel. But the ultimate success or failure of the project depended on whether or not the scientists would design a bomb in time. Weapons research was based at the new laboratory at Los Alamos under the leadership of J. Robert Oppenheimer.
The workers weren't allowed to say anything about what they were doing because my father was, working on secret things. He couldn't come home and talk about what he was doing.
Either uranium or plutonium, and then quickly assemble the material into a critical mass, which would then explode. From the beginning, scientists at Los Alamos proposed two basic designs: the gun-type bomb, which was more simple but could not work with plutonium fuel, and the
At 8:15 on the morning of the 6th of August, 1945, the Japanese city of Hiroshima was devastated by the first atomic bomb to be used as a weapon of war. The bomb, nicknamed Little Boy, was dropped from the USAAF B-29 bomber Enola Gay and exploded some 1,800 feet above the city, delivering the equivalent of around 12.5 kilotons of TNT. The bomb reduced 5 square miles of the city center to ashes and caused the deaths of an estimated 120,000 people within the first 4 days following the blast. Many were instantly vaporized by the explosion. Others died afterwards from effects of burns and radiation. Early on the morning of August 9, 1945, the B-29, known as Bockscar, took off from Tinian Island in the western Pacific Ocean, carrying nearly 10,000-pound plutonium-based bomb known as Fat Man, toward Kokura, home to a large Japanese arsenal. Finding Kokura obscured by cloud cover, the Boxcar's crew decided to head to their secondary target, Nagasaki. Fat Man, which detonated at 11:02 a.m. Japan time at an altitude of 1,650 feet, killed about half as many people in Nagasaki as a uranium-based Little Boy had in Hiroshima 3 days earlier. Despite a force estimated at 21 kilotons, or 40% greater, still, the effect was devastating. Close to 40,000 people were killed instantly, and a third of the city was destroyed. In subsequent years, the United States, the Soviet Union, and Great Britain conducted several nuclear weapons tests. In 1954, President Jawaharlal Nehru of India called for a ban on nuclear testing. It was the first large-scale initiative to ban using nuclear technology for mass destruction. Congress established the United States Atomic Energy Commission to foster and control the peacetime development of atomic science and technology. Reflecting America's post-war optimism, Congress declared that atomic energy should be employed not only in the nation's defense, but also to promote world peace, improve the public welfare, and strengthen free competition in private enterprise. After long months of intensive debate among politicians, military planners, and atomic scientists, President Harry S. Truman confirmed the civilian control of atomic energy by signing the Atomic Energy Act on August 1st, 1946.
Quote, in deciding to use this bomb, I want to make sure that it would be used as a weapon of war in the manner prescribed by the law of war, and I want it dropped on a military target. Quote, by Henry S. Trump. This topic of the bombing remains. In August 2009, poll by Quinnipiac University found that 61% of Americans supported the bombing, with 22% opposed and 16% undecided. The poll found a significant gap in opinion based on residents' age. 73% of those polled over 55 agreed with the bombing, while only 50% of the under 35 supported it. In 2015, among Americans, the generations gap remained pronounced. 75 of the response over the age of 65, but only 47% of those aged 18 through 29 agreed to the bombing.
I mean, we were all happy that the war was ending. Mm-hmm. And we were happy we weren't going to be sending lots of people into Japan to be killed. Mm-hmm. But the shock of what that bomb did was really bad.
And the bombs now are way more powerful than the atomic bomb, and we might do the world in if one of those bombs went off.